draw this man, blue eyes, nice looking, 6 foot, all that. Let me ask you, baby girl, are you Halle Berry? Is love enough? If you can answer this question, you're ready. Look for a man who opens the door for you, they still exist. Look for a man who pulls a chair for you, they still exist. Look for a man that prays for you, that prays for your success, that loves your family. Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. How are you all doing? I've been doing leveling up in your 30s, adding value. We've talked about friendships, we've talked about money, and we're talking about relationships. Not just platonic relationships, we're talking about romantic relationships. So dating in your 30s. And whatever I'm going to say today, I'm not a relationship expert. I'm just a girl who is spilling out what she's learned over the years. And we're talking about dating. Once you've gone past 20s, all the excitement, the madness, the clinginess, the one night stands, and all the unserious stuff. So you get to 30, you're thinking, my plan was that by 26, I should be married, by 28, I should have kids. We all have those plans. That's what they call plans. But at the end of the day, God has the final say, and we don't know what's going to happen to us tomorrow, but we can make adjustments and we can do our own part to work towards our relationships if we are now looking to settle. Grab a drink. I think this one you might need a strong drink. Yes, I'll let you get a glass, pour yourself something, and let's relax. It's going to be a very relaxing but informative watch. And if this is the first time that you've seen this Black Beauty, consider subscribing. I do videos on self-improvement, chats on very relatable topics, and most importantly, money and keeping healthy. So as well as family vlogs from this fabulous mom of all. My first advice is that be even more picky and deliberate, because I know that if you're bringing the value, you can be picky. You can make your standards known and you can keep those standards as high as possible. I was having a chat the other day with my friends and I said, we women will keep the bar so low that we literally trip over it. Put your bar right up. Don't ask for the impossible. Ask for what is realistic, but don't just settle. The reason why this is my first point is most people have this mentality that when you're in your 20s, you can be more picky because you're young, but once you get to 30, oh my God, the age is creeping in. Darling, we all thought so. At 39, I can tell you that you're still at your prime, you're at your peak. You know what you want. If anything, I don't think, and please, this is my opinion. My opinion is that no girl less than 28, 29 should be thinking about marriage. What do you know at 24, 25? So I believe the maturity at 30, you can start being deliberate. You can start looking for not just a boyfriend. You can start looking for your potential husband at that age. You're wiser, you're smarter. You don't just make decisions at the spur of the moment. So this point is important because a lot of ladies fall in the trap of reaching 30 and thinking the world is over. Any guy that comes, I settle. Sister, don't settle for any guy at 30. Be picky, be even more picky, because you know now what you want. And you will get the right person if you have your ducks aligned in a row. So look at yourself in the mirror first before you're picky, and make sure that you have worked on yourself. Next thing I'll talk about is you need to visit the right places. You're 30. You're probably living alone. You have a decent job. You have a career. You're finished studying. And you're at that point where you're comfortable. But you're stuck at home, watching from one TikTok video to the next, from one Instagram reel to the next, from one YouTube video to the next, and you're flicking through Netflix morning, noon, and night. How do you meet these guys? Please tell me. Leave the house and go out. And when you're going out, please don't just go anywhere because you want to go out. Think about the person you want to meet and think about the places the people go to. There are lots of videos on the internet that you can look for that tell you or gives you tips on the right places to find the right persons. But generally go out, be more out there, go for family gatherings, go for barbecues, go for parties. Don't just be out there rigging desperate. Make yourself a bit scarce as well, but you need to pick and choose. Think about gatherings, things like ascot races. Think about places that you meet like-minded people. Try to mingle. Say maybe join your ex-alumni association, maybe join your sort of professional pairs that are in the same field as us. It's always good because you have things in common and you that are educated like you. Think about places out of the box and get out of the house. You will not meet your husband at home. At 30, you are still a young woman. You're not an old woman yet. When you start getting to mid-40s, I might say, maybe online dating because you're not interested in going out. But at this age, please step out. And when you step out, behave yourself. We'll talk about that another time. But there are loads of videos on etiquette because it is important that the first impression makes the best impression. Bear that in mind. Let's go to the next point. Work on yourself. I talked about this before. Fix your attitude towards men. There's this thing that women do. A lot of women who are maybe slightly older, I'm talking about maybe you're getting to the late 30s and you've had a string of failed relationships. You find men the devil. Anything the man does, if he just says hello, you roll your eyes, and what does he want now? So you preempt every move. He looks at your friend and smiles, oh, he's one of those men. Oh my God, I don't want him. You need to fix your attitude towards men. Go with a clean mind. If you have issues, if you need counseling, if you need to fix a broken heart, please do that. Let a man not pay for all the other men's sins. Work on yourself. If you're in your 30s, entering your 30s, maybe because in your 20s, I'm sure that you've met a lot, like always say, you have to kiss a lot of frogs. You've met a lot of them along the way. And now a lot of people who approach you, to be honest, depending on how you present yourself, in your 30s know what you're looking for. Most men. Yes, I know it's not a given, but they do. So if you are basing your relationship mentality or your thoughts of men on what happened in the past, then you might as well not even date. Don't go with the impression that this man is like this, is like that. It always starts with you. It's always what you give out, the energy you give out. So work on your energy. If you're normally a very grumpy, unhappy, negative person, then I think looking for a relationship should be the last thing on your mind. Think about how you can fix your broken self, how you can be a much more pleasant person to be around. Let's go to point number, I think 4. Please be realistic. Okay, I know I talked about setting your bar high. One thing I always say, and anybody who I've spoken to on a one-to-one about relationships, is I always say, when you are asking for this man, the man who has maybe paid off his mortgage or has just a few years to do it, or actually has a house cash, has a dream home, has a dream job, obviously has been earning 6 figures for like 10 years, maybe has a perfect family unit from a very perfect home, maybe privately educated. Before you draw this man, city man, blue eyes, nice looking, 6 foot, all that, let me ask you, baby girl, are you Halle Berry? Are you Naomi Campbell? Are you 6 foot model with high cheeks, flat stomach, perfect body? Have you been earning 6 figures for 10 years? Or what can you bring to the table? What family are you from? Are you privately educated? I'm not saying you should not ask for what you want, but let's also get ourselves to the point where the men actually see us, because nowadays everybody wants a woman who is an asset. Those men are out there, there are loads of them out there with all what you want, all the qualities and even more. But they're looking for women who match that energy. They're looking for women who maybe may not be where they are or might be, but they can see potential. They can see they have drive. You cannot sit down on a very basic education, basic training, basic background, and you're asking for the world. And not only that, you're picky. Sister, this is your 30s now. If you've been doing that, then you need to reevaluate yourself. Maybe you have a problem that, again, relationships cannot fix. Because before you ask for this perfect man, please make sure you add value. I am not in any way saying that don't set your bar high, but think about how you become a high value woman. And I'll do a separate video on this, on how you can bring to the table a lot more. So please bear that in mind. And the next one is, ladies, don't be a man. Be in touch with your feminine side. I had a conversation with a friend years ago. I have a lot of masculine energy. Unconsciously, I think it's just my personality. It's just who I am. But I'm learning to be in touch with my feminine side more. It's a journey. And although I'm giving you all this advice I've learned, I'm still learning. The things that I'm impacting are things that I wish I knew then. That's why this series is really important, and talking about the lessons that I have learned. And being in touch with your feminine side doesn't mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean that you cannot fend for yourself, or you're not a tough woman, you're not a high achieving woman. It just means that you're letting the man bring in the masculine energy while he matches your feminine energy. And that's a perfect mix, because negative attracts positive and vice versa. Be more self-conscious that sometimes when you're so masculine, you drive this man away. You miss the feminine aura that you naturally have, gifted, that could make the difference in a relationship. That ego and love hardly go together. They're so parallel. And then this particular point, some people might agree, others might not, but this is my opinion. I always say that. Sister, when you're 30, make your intentions known to the man. Don't do any second guessing. Don't do any assumptions. Oh, he knows this. He doesn't know all of that. Make your intentions known from the onset. When you're 21, 22, young love, of course you're having fun. But don't be too scared from the beginning. If your intention is not to get married, by all means, please go and let's have some fun. But if those are your, especially when you're getting towards the end of 30, although we don't want you to be desperate, desperate doesn't mean you can't make the guy know what you want, because he'll hardly ever change his mind. If he was intending to be serious with you, if you said it, it will not repel him. Yes, some men are ruthless and some women are ruthless. So I'm not trying to slander men in this video, by the way, but most times if you make yourself your intentions known from the beginning, that dude, brother, uncle, if you're coming here, I want to do this, and it doesn't have to be like marry tomorrow. You can say your plan is, your 3-year goal is to do this. Is it in sync with his? Make your intention from the beginning known. One man might be 1 mile away. The next person is a different planet completely. So make sure that your plans are in sync. Something to consider in dating or in a long-term relationship is making sure that the guy has the fear of God. Yes. A man that fears God starts the relationship on a better footing. If you don't fear God or you don't believe in God, it's different. But if you are religious, look for a man who has the same religious values. A man who fears God generally will respect and love a woman. It's something that we don't talk about enough. And things that when you're younger, you don't think about. But when you're thinking about settling down, a man who loves God, who fears God, and will generally respect and love his woman and his family, he will make a better family unit and often make better husbands. And more importantly, they form a family unit. They don't just get married to them. You feel like you guys are in a unit together, because there's always God in the center of decisions. Consider that as well. The next thing I'll talk about is self-love. Self-love is the most important gift to yourself. Self-love doesn't mean that you go out and buy yourself stuff. Self-love doesn't mean that you need to pamper yourself. Self-love is in the mind. Self-love could mean as little as taking a soak, taking a bath every once a week, and just loving yourself. Just looking good, admiring yourself, and going out and going nowhere. Just dress up, look in the mirror, take some pictures and post. That's self-love. When you start loving yourself, you appreciate yourself, you actually start talking to yourself. Somebody say, this Lua, you're so fabulously beautiful. Which man deserves me? The man who will get me is so lucky. Once you start saying those things, those positive affirmations to yourself, trust me, you attract the right energy, the right man, and you will not look so desperate, and it will work in your favor. The universe will work in your favor. Just love yourself a little bit more. Do your nails, pamper yourself, go out for and watch a movie, have ice cream, eat what you want. Love yourself. Don't be miserable in being single, because being single is not a bad thing. Because once you get married, you'll miss your single days, baby girl, I can tell you that. Please enjoy and love it. Ask yourself this fundamental question. Is love enough? Is love enough? If you can answer this question, then baby girl, you're ready. Because I don't think that love is enough. Love is not enough. There are so many other things that you need to consider that love will not look at. If you love a guy, you're so lucky, that's a bonus. And if he loves you, match made in heaven. But that has never been enough. Think about common goals, because there'll be a point that love will be there, the spark will be just there, but friendship, I tell you guys, and I've said this before on my channel on different videos, that friendship, having common goals, common interests, common aspirations is right up there. Love is somewhere. That's why sometimes back in the day, people met each other after 3 hours, they knew they met their wives, because their goals were in sync. They had things in common. They had the same values. The things that meant the important things to them were in sync. Those are the sort of things that I believe we take for granted, we forget, and we capitalize on the wrong things. Think about money, attitude towards money. Think about how many kids you want. Think about, for example, religious backgrounds, family expectations, family dynamics. Think about all those things. Think sometimes tribes. Because I watched this series that Summer Aku, a Nigerian YouTuber, did, and it was about, is love enough? And she came from a multi-tribal marriage which did not work despite the fact they loved each other and they were young. So those are the things that we need to consider. Because if you think about those things now you're in your 30s, it'll inform a lot of the conversations you have from the beginning. Sis, as a conclusion, put yourself right up that pedestal. You deserve it. Look for a man who opens the door for you. They still exist. Look for a man who pulls a chair for you. They still exist. Look for a man that prays for you, that prays for your success, that loves your family. Think about a man that wants to even pay your bills. Think about a man that doesn't want you to cry. Those men exist, but please be ready to give same. Match his energy levels. Anyway, I've come to the end of this video. I don't want it to be too long. Things that I know now, 13 years ago or 15 years ago, when I was in my mid-20s, I had no idea. Thanks very much for watching this video today. And if you enjoy the content, give us a like. Consider subscribing because my Level Up series in your 30s has only started. If there's any topic that I want to talk about, mention. But while we're talking about relationships, let's talk about money and friendships. And you see that video just about now. All right, thank you and bye-bye. Bye. Stay fabulous. Like the video. Consider subscribing. Keep loving yourself. And remembering that health is wealth. All right. Bye-bye. Bye.